because we're going to talk about this special project that I did for a class that I took at RISD. Students at Brown and RISD, we could cross-select each other's courses, so that's really awesome. So I took this video installation class in 2019. It was taught by Daniel Peltz from RISD's Film, Animation, and Video Department. It was a great class. I like it. And the ASMR video you're about to see later was what I did for my first crit. It was about this replica of the Nicholas Brown secretary desk. The original was built in the 1760s, and it was a very magnificent and big desk. It was around 9 feet tall, which is I think around 280 centimeters. I edited the full video shorter for this video. So the setup of this video was that it was projected to the screen on the fireplace in our study room, while the desk was downstairs in the parlor, so you're not physically present with the desk. And you get to sit around this fireplace and watch the ASMR video of the desk. It's a very cozy setup. I hope when you're watching the ASMR video later, you also feel a sense of calm and coziness. Now just calm your mind and enjoy this little ASMR video, and let's chat more later. This is our cue. After I articulate this word, we're gonna come back to talking in our normal volume, so keep you warned. Bubble tea. Welcome back! Hope you enjoyed that little ASMR treat that I prepared for you, and it's not too weird. If you don't know anything about ASMR and what that is, here's a little quick definition from Google. Yeah, so it's basically something for relaxation mostly, or just to calm your mind. Yes, and I do know that there are some kind of eerie, weird, and somewhat sexual ASMR videos out there. If you like those, good for you, but we're not talking about those today. Okay, great. So yeah, this was my first project that I did for the video installation class that I took at RISD. And this class took place in a studio space. We usually sat in a circle in front of a big projection screen, and there were 10 people, me included, in a class. So it's a very small, very cozy size, and I kind of like it, and we get to know each other pretty well, and I made some really good friends. So that's pretty nice. So in this class, each of us would present
3 video installations in total, and we get to pick a site that we want to work on throughout the semester. I picked my program building, the John Nicholas Brown Center for Public Humanities, also known as the Nightingale Brown House, and for each project there will be a crit. And what is a crit? You might have heard of the term crit or critique from your friends who go to art school, or you might have first-hand experiences if you're an art student yourself. Me, I am not an art student, so it was actually till this class that I get to experience what a crit is like. So basically, a crit is, in a very short definition, from my experience at RISD, is short for the word critique, and it is where students showcase and explain their artwork or work in front of their class, and the student would share the background story behind it, some personal stories if there is, and the choice of their material and way of delivering, and just any other background information that the audience should know. And then the rest of the class and the instructors would give feedback and critique their artwork. Yeah, so think of it like a final presentation, but for artwork. I was a bit nervous when I first took this class because I've heard from some of my friends at RISD, they told me that crits are not the most enjoyable experiences sometimes because some people tend to be pretty mean and brutal when they're critiquing your work, and sometimes it gets really stressful. So I was a little bit nervous about that, but luckily my class was nothing like that. Everybody was just so kind, so thoughtful, and very open with their opinions and helping each other out. So that was really, really nice. So coming back to the desk that you saw me interacting in various fashions in a video, that was a replica of a 18th century writing desk. It's called the Nicholas Brown Secretary Desk, and afterwards it was passed down to Nicholas Brown II, who was the namesake for Brown University. And the desk has some very intriguing stories. The original desk was attributed to the maker John Goddard, who's a renowned 18th century American cabinet maker in Newport, Rhode Island. And you might have seen some Goddard and Townsend furniture pieces if you go to museums like the Met's, the MFA Boston, and also the nearby RISD Museum. They all have some pieces that were attributed to Goddard or Townsend, or Goddard and Townsend. This was because the Goddard family, along with the Townsend family, were both prominent furniture makers in the 18th and 19th century United States. So that's a little fun fact. And next time you see those pieces in museums, you can show out to your friends that, oh, I know that piece because I watched this video. If we have this replica of that desk at the John Nicholas Brown Center for Public Humanities, what happened to the original desk? So the original desk was auctioned in 1989 at the price of $12.1 million, which was also the highest price a piece of American furniture have ever fetched in an auction. That was just a lot of money. And of course, yes, I did get permission to open and touch the desk from the curator staff professor at our program, and I especially clipped my nails really short because I just don't want to accidentally leave any claw marks, even though that's impossible because I'm just a mortal human, not a cursed mummy or a Wonder Woman. So anyway, it was fine. Everything was fine. Moving on! This video installation class was my first and only class that I took at RISD, and I enjoyed it a lot. My classmates were just a bunch of very kind, amazing, creative, young artists, designers, architects, and I just feel like through this class, I finally got a chance to really explore all those weird ideas and creative ideas I have about museum stuff. And through this ASMR video, I kind of wanted to have some fun and kind of challenge the idea of approaching the interpretation of a museum object. Usually these videos or these methods are quite formal and quite distant in some ways, and there are definitely a wave, probably because in light of the pandemic, that multiple museums and historical societies, they're really trying their best to put themselves out there, you know, with fun videos behind the scenes and even vlog type of videos showing you the behind the scene, science behind the scene, conservation process of museum work, and just to invite the audience in. And I really enjoy that. I think that's a really good trend, and I hope that it really goes on. And you know that feeling whenever you go into a museum, especially museums of old stuff, you're always reminded from signs from the staff members, from the guards, that do not touch anything. In some occasions when you are invited or even encouraged to touch the objects, it just created this learning almost sensation that sticks to your memory for a really long time. Don't you agree that we always remember some of the cool little things that we get to touch, to smell, to listen to in museum visits instead of reading very long, kind of boring text on the interpretation signs? So how to create this sense of welcoming and friendliness in objects is usually a pretty challenging task for museum staff members, but this also presents more space to explore creativity. And in my weird brain full of weird ideas, I thought to myself, why not try ASMR? So that's what I did for this project. And I don't know, just not everyone can say that they did ASMR en route to their degree in an Ivy League university. I don't know, I thought it's kind of a weird achievement. Oh, and also in this class, we are also paired up with another student as respondent. So each of us was assigned to another person in the class to give feedbacks on their work. For example, I was paired up with this guy named Parker, who's amazing. So whenever Parker has a new video project, I got to see it first and I would take notes, and then I would share my feedback and critiques to the whole class during the crit next time. And for me, I was paired up with Emma, who is also amazing. And for this ASMR video, Emma wrote, "In this piece, Sharon gives the viewer an intimate interaction with an object not present, drawing from ASMR techniques. Viewers are encouraged to sit on the floor, pillows provided, around the fireplace and watch this tactile exploration of a historical piece of furniture. The sound is experienced with headphones. By exploring an object so intimately in video and audio, we feel as if we are touching and interacting with this object, yet we are in a different room. This parallels how historical narratives are simultaneously present and absent in the spaces we occupy today." The other dimension of this piece involves a subtle critique to the history of the cabinet and the house, and by extension, Brown University and Providence. It is one that is built in the foundation of slavery, which is a heavy subject, made lighter by the humor in knowing that this cabinet is a replica of the original, which was sold for a huge sum of money at an auction in the name of the slave-owning man who used it. Again, the absence of the cabinet points out the absence of both the uncredited craftsmen and the oppressed people who helped build Brown University. And it is in these parallels that meaning is formed and lands in the viewer. Emma's responses were amazing, and it actually pointed out several points that I would love to invite the audience to think about. Like, how do we usually define the so-called provenance of an object? Was it the maker, the owner, or who once used it, or the location this object once stood in, or a combination of many of these, depending on what kind of stories you want to tell via this object? And also, what are some hidden and secretive or somewhat cover-up stories that usually come with historical pieces like this? Take this 18th century writing desk, for example. Thinking about the historical backdrop, built in the 1760s and was used till the 19th century. Some letters that were written on this desk or went via this desk were probably about the rising of the American Revolution. And I believe also some letters that were indirectly or directly related to the slave trade. And also in these ASMR videos, things were usually whispered and kind of told in a hidden kind of maneuver. It's metaphorically kind of similar to how some narratives in history were told. I've always been a huge fan of videos, and I'm really looking forward to not only the form ASMR would offer in the future, but just video in general. I feel like especially when you couldn't really visit a place in person, especially in light of the pandemic, for example, I feel like videos usually offer the next best thing. And also in light of the pandemic, I also feel like many of us feel deeper with how video as a form of medium really could transport us to a different space and then tell interesting stories and raise awareness of many social issues. And you might be tired of seeing commercial videos, but did you know that IKEA actually made this 25-minute ASMR commercial video which has reached millions of views and people really enjoy it, including me. So yeah, this might open door to more weird and fun opportunities that you might never thought of. I don't know, I'm kind of positive and looking forward to what kind of opportunities that this form of presentation would bring. Like, I just think it might be really awesome. It could be really awesome if some museums start to do like ASMR object replica tours, or I don't know, I just think it's awesome. Like, if any museum people are watching this, pitch this to your supervisor. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this video. Some parts are kind of weird, but if you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below. It's kind of a daydream, but if because of ASMR content in this video and it accidentally broke any YouTube algorithm, I don't know, it's unlikely, I'm sure, but if that's the case, That's pretty cool. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. Stay safe, and I'll see you again soon in my next videos. Bye! And if you feel like hanging out here more, subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram. Welcome back, featuring the squeaky chair. Squeaks! Oh, today's not that squeaky. Good job, chair!
The neighbors are redecorating their room again every 24 seconds, I swear. I apologize. So, this is the take I would use. Anyway.
Or you might have first-hand experience if you're an artist. And you might have seen some auction in the year 18. It's 19! God, that's auctioned in. What does mean with 1989? 1989. Okay, think about Wonder Woman 1984. Why is that so easy? 19. What? I think it was because of the Lovecraft video that I get used to speaking about 18 something because that's the year he was born, and I'm just price of 12 points. And again, I'm messing up 12 numbers.